Hi, this is Jared from Motion Sound Studios in Los Angeles, California. Today we're going to talk about how to determine a guitar chord from just listening to it. This is a skill that, like most skills, has to be developed over time. It really just takes practice. Listening and aural theory is just something like any muscle. You have to practice a lot. And there are some chords on guitar that are a little easier to tell, so we should start with those. Once you start to be able to hear what those chords sound like, you'll start being able to kind of hear what everything sounds like. So the easiest ones to tell what they are the open chords, and that's because they have a very distinct sound, and they can't be shifted up and down the neck like bar chords. For example, the G chord. That's one that has a very distinct sound because you can hear the 3 right there in the bass and then a bunch of these open notes, so you can relate them to each other. And that's really the key when you're trying to figure out chords on guitar, is you got to hear those intervals in between them. So when you hear that, hearing this, the 5th at the beginning and then kind of hearing the chord develop has a unique sound for D major there. So the best things to practice when doing that are looking at the intervals and which open notes are being used in the chord, which ones you're not putting your fingers on frets on. And that's the best way to figure out the chords. Also, if you know the key of the song, being able to listen to the relative pitch of that is something that can help you a lot. So if you know the song is in G and you hear this kind of the minor that it goes to naturally, that's going to be E minor because it always is that in C. There are some tricks you can learn and things like that. Lastly, sometimes it can just plain be impossible to tell which chord it is unless you have perfect pitch, and that's because people will use a capo, and that'll put the frets down at a certain level, and then they can play an open G chord up here or up here, so it gets really hard to tell. This has been Jared with Motion Sound. Today I taught you about how to determine a guitar chord from listening.